Hi there, and welcome to my presentation. Today we're going to be learning a bit about economics by Elijah Cruz, that's me, for my economics class. So let's go along for the ride. GDP, that's where we're going to start. So what is it? GDP, or gross domestic product, it's actually a measurement that's used to calculate value of every service and good that's produced in a country or a nation in a specific period of time. The sum of all things on sale, adding in intangibles that individuals do, leaving out inflation effects. So, a little bit about GDP, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Personally, we should not be growing and aiming to grow GDP. Gross domestic product, it's actually a poor measure for progress. Ironically, as we destroy our planet, GDP increases. But if money is being produced, machines are required to stay running for as long as they can. Through GDP analysis, an oil spill can show an increase while being detrimental to our environment. So it disregards factors of well-being, actual living conditions, and unpaid work. GDP does account for the cars that's produced, but not the emissions that are generated from them, the value of sugared beverages, but not the health problems that arise from it, the value of new buildings and structures, but not the damages that are done to our vital forces. GDP fails to address how most people really live and who benefits from actual economic growth. GDP fails to account for unpaid work, including but not limited to housework and childcare. We are only provided with a partial picture of the economy, never the big picture when using GDP. To add on to disregards that GDP does not address would be our environment. Effects on our climate, companies are to produce as much as possible regardless of the pollution in the air, the inefficient machines, or the toxic waste that are dumped around, posing the question whether the economy really needs to keep growing so much. It has been shown that due to human activity, there has been a shift in climate and global warming is actually occurring. Humans are contributing to this factor as we continue to burn fossil fuels such as oils and gases. The Northeast is actually dealing with heavy downpours, heat waves, sea levels rising, and tree diseases. The Southwest and the Mid-East is set to face extreme heats and flooding. The Southwest, my apologies, that was supposed to be Southeast and Mid-East. Southwest now, they're having droughts, wildfires, and extreme heat conditions. So what is a new way that we can evaluate the economy? In my opinion, the Human Development Index, or the HDI. So economists have actually came to the realization that this may not be the most accurate way of determination with using GDP. This HDI index, it's used to understand both the health and the growth of a given economy. There's many benefits since social impacts such as the rich and poor nations can be tracked, emphasizing the happiness of individuals as opposed to the economic capacities. Economic growth, education, and life expectancy are values with being able to determine how well developed the country or nation is. This measurement focuses on long and healthy life expectancies, knowledge with average years of schooling, and decent standards of living, using the gross national income per capita. This contributes to an economy's prosperity as it considers levels of inequality as well. Growing our economy. How and what areas? So broadly speaking, there are two main sources of economic growth. Growth in size of the workforce and growth in output of productivity. So the per hours worked of that workforce. Lift the economy back to its previous levels reducing unemployment, stabilizing economic growth, and improving financial stability. Those are all the ways that we can contribute to growing our economy. Interest. Now we are going to go into what is a stakeholder versus a stockholder. So stakeholders, they are customers, employees, community members, politicians, suppliers. A stockholder, on the other hand, is an individual who owns a share in a corporation or a project. Don't underestimate the importance of your stakeholders. If you can engage most or all of your stakeholders, it can massively benefit both the organization and the people that you impact. So the question comes, should shareholders' interests be the only interest considered? Unethical decision to only consider stockholders. The importance of a stakeholder engagement, you get to empower people, you get the stakeholders involved in the decision-making process. You can build a better organization. Engaging these stakeholders can bring important issues to light and encourage your organization to develop corporate social responsibility. If you consider both stakeholder and stockholder, you can achieve better outcomes, whether it's with education, connection, engagement, or profit. Income inequality. What it looks like, what is it? Income inequality is a wide gap between the money earned by the richest people in an economy when compared to the poorest. Income inequality is how unevenly income is distributed throughout a population. The less equal the distribution, the higher income inequality is. Most Americans do not have enough money to save, live, and build wealth. Rumor indicates people earn what they're worth in the market. Rumor indicates economic gains should only go to those who are deserving of them. Rumors are just that. They're just rumors. All individuals should have their fair shot at making a decent living, no limitations. If the gap continues, race disparities, women and people of color make less, save less, and inherit less, which I thought was very interesting. Research has shown that 64% of women as sole money makers for their families. Hence, women account for a good chunk of consumer spending within our economy. Here are some facts that I found. Women earn little more than 80 cents for every dollar a man earns, on average. For the same work, that's what the rankings find. To earn $61,000 average salary of a white man, an Asian woman must work an extra 34 days. White woman must work 103 more days to earn that same $62,000 salary. Black women must work 223 days to make up that difference, while an American, Asian, Alaskan Native woman would have to work 266 days. Hispanic women would have to work 299 days to make up that salary difference. So if this gap continues, these numbers are just going to keep projecting and keep on rising, and it's just unfair. If this gap continues, most Americans expect income inequality to worsen over the next 3 decades. Majorities say the economy will be weaker, the nation's debt burden will be heavier, the environment will be in worse condition, and healthcare will be less affordable than today. Research also indicates that high inequality through societies on multiple levels, correlating with, if not causing, more crime, less happiness, poorer mental and physical health, less racial harmony, and less civic and political participation. The rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. Richer individuals put more of their assets toward high-risk investments, which can result in higher returns. But wealthy people often earn a higher return even on more conservative investments. Richer individuals enjoy more pure returns to scale to their wealth. So it's this never-ending cycle. because the poor cannot afford to live, so let alone to invest. So this picture here, it just shows what you need to know about income inequality in America. The top 20% receive more than 50% of the income. Outsourcing and technology have increased income inequality, and employment training and investment in education could improve income inequality. So we can find this happy balance where everyone is on that steady teeter-totter, not one or the other. Economic policies. So some redistribution, they can curb labor income inequalities. Direct taxes and transfers jointly reduce income inequality by more than 1/3 in advanced economies. If we do more progressive taxation, the rich will be taxed proportionally more than the poor, reducing the amount of income inequality within our society. So now a little bit about jobs in America and specifically focusing on the living wages and the importance of them. So living wage, right? A livable wage is what it sounds like. A person can earn enough to cover cost of living plus a little extra for emergencies. But the technical standard goes deeper. A person should be able to afford necessities like food, water, housing, education, healthcare, transportation, in addition to small amount being saved for unexpected events. So why is it so important? Without a living wage, workers can be compelled to work excessive overtime hours or multiple jobs, become bonded laborers, put their children into work instead of school, being denied their basic human rights to food, shelter, nutrition, health, housing, education, and they can even suffer social deprivations, such as being unable to take part in, different events within their life because they just have to be working. A living wage is also important because workers will be compelled to be unstable in crises, such as an ill health. Everyone deserves that opportunity to survive, thrive, and low wages should not be a barrier to achieving that. Good quality living wage and the 5 facets of it. The corporate responsibility to respect human rights, including fundamental principles or rights at work. It is not an afterthought. It is not a charity. It is the foundation for a successful, sustainable, responsible business. So if we meet at least these 3 out of 5 facets, we can actually give good living wage quality to everybody. So a living wage, right? Obviously. If we can give a living wage sufficient to support a decent standard of living, or at minimum exceeds the median wage offered within the employer's industry. Basic benefits. These increase economic security. They improve health and promote work-life balance among workers. These include paid leave, health insurance, and retirement savings plans. Career building opportunities that help employees develop these skills, networks, and experiences necessary to launch a career or advance themselves in a long path-term career. These opportunities can include training and mentorship, both formal and informal, and avenues for advancement within the company. Wealth building opportunities, these enable and incentivize an employee to build assets they need to manage financial emergencies and achieve long-term financial security for themselves and their families. A fair and engaging workplace. This balances the priorities and well-being of employees with the need of business. So examples include offering flexible and predictable schedules, treating all staff with respect and dignity, achieving social, employee environments, and helping staff understand how their work contributes to the success of the business. So now a little bit about the COVID aftermath, specifically focusing on jobs and our economy. So this little graph here to our right, we can see how hardships that fell after COVID, and you can just see it's by difficult covering usual expenses, those that are not caught up on rent, and those that don't even have enough to eat during that time. So the COVID pandemic and resulting economic fallout, it caused significant hardship. In the early months of the crisis, tens of millions of people lost their jobs. While employment began to rebound within a few months, unemployment remained high throughout 2020. Considerable unmet need remained near the end of 2021, with 20 million households reporting to have too little to eat in the past 7 days. And 10 million households, as you can see, were behind on their rent. The coronavirus ushered in quarantines, mass mandates, product shortages, business closures, and businesses scrambling to figure out new ways to keep their doors open. We've all been there, we've all seen it, maybe even witnessed it firsthand. No jobs, no money, no spending, no economy. This also sparked that work from home mentality with jobs and seeking jobs. So now you can be in the comfort of your home, working from home, and that's thanks to the COVID aftermath. The economy. The coronavirus crisis, yes, it's a crisis, has accelerated an already unsustainable fiscal trajectory, both because of its devastating effect on the economy and necessary legislative response. The crisis, in short terms, what that means, had a dramatic impact on global poverty and inequality. So global poverty increased for the first time in a generation, and disproportionate income losses among disadvantaged populations led to a dramatic rise in inequality within and across all the countries. Moving on to some technology with jobs. So technology has a really big impact over jobs. The implementation, and growth from current automation and AI technologies do both increase and they both limit our new jobs. The workplace is moving away from needing employees with basic skills, and more advanced skills are now required. Automation and AI technologies will take over the need of the basic cognitive skills, meaning data entry, literacy, and basic, like just number crunching. So a few jobs that are going to be affected has to deal with banks. There's going to be a decline in ranging from tellers, accountants, and brokerage clerks. Within healthcare, you'll see an increase in care providers such as nurses and surgeons, while the office staff, they're going to decrease tremendously. So record keeping and administration duties, those will be left to our automated systems and technologies, not requiring anyone to manage that. The manufacturing piece of it, automation and AI technologies will heavily disrupt and affect these individuals' daily jobs. They will have to be an adaptation period where human-machine collaboration will need to take place. Moving on to retail, this industry will see the most effects as automations and AI technologies reshape the way individuals work. With new self-checkout machines, we are seeing a decline in the need for cashiers and people who restock the shelves. Even as some jobs decline, the US economy will continue to create others, and technologies themselves will give a rise to new occupations. All workers will need to adapt as machines take over routine and some physical tasks, and as the demand grows for working involving socio-emotional, creative, technological, and higher cognitive skills. The future of jobs. Here is a few of Space Tourist Guide. leisure time planner, virtual reality influencer. So, the use of robots will decrease the cost of productions and expand industries with demand for labor increasing. Jobs of the future. Interesting side note. Space Tourist Guide. This is a little bit of the explanation. Tran explained that the commercialization of space, more private citizens want to fly into space, which needs tour guides. So that's something that's going to just, float back up future jobs. A leisure time planner. This frees humans up from time spent so you can just plan other people's stuff. You know what I mean? Virtual reality influencer. Let's see. Natural extension of social media influencer. And that is actually happening today. And big stars like Kylie Jenner, they're making more than $1 million per Instagram post. So this is only going to keep on skyrocketing as we continue to move into the future with these future jobs of, AI and automation, etc. The big one here that I would like to discuss today is going to be on the metaverse. The metaverse will heavily reshape the world and impact the labor markets by bringing new social connections, mobility, and collaboration to the world, opening up to rethink office and work environments. So it's like a reality of work. And this comes with less need of individuals for heavy lifting work, freeing them up for productive and value-added tasks. A bit about American debt. So our deficits are mainly caused by predictable structural factors, our aging baby boom generation, rising health costs, and a tax system that does not bring in enough money to pay for what the government has promised its citizens. So a little snippet, there's a website, the National Debt Clock, and it's constantly changing. Like if you go on this site right now, the number that I put there that was 5 minutes ago, it's not the same exact number. So the national debt as of 5 minutes ago was, as you can see on the screen, tons of money. And that means that $93,000 for every single person in America. That number is just insane to me. It's intense. Preventing future economic crisis. So how can we keep the economy strong within the next 5 to 10 years? Two things. It needs to build up public health infrastructures to combat the pandemic. Number two, it needs to offer quick relief to tens of millions of Americans that are already suffering from or are about to face hunger, poverty, eviction, foreclosure, and a lack of health care. My response plan. To help solve all these economic issues, I believe that Congress has to really take into account three big things. They need to act fast. Congress needs to act fast. Many people and businesses have exhausted their resources, and many others are on the line of bankruptcy, eviction, and foreclosure. Now is the time to think big in order to reignite growth. Getting the economy back to its full potential may require spending in the area of $3 to $4.5 trillion. Any economic package needs to include massive investments in public health. Protecting the public's health is key to reviving the economy. Congress needs to provide more financial support for those struggling the most. This includes added stimulus payments, but also expanded unemployment benefits. Provide more money to the SNAP, so that's the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, by 15%. Many people that are in our society, they are low class. This would substantially lower food insecurity, especially among the lower income, seniors, veterans, children, African Americans, and Latinos. Congress should make a renewed effort to tackling massive and rising income and wealth inequality. Measures such as higher minimum wage, renter and home protection from eviction, foreclosure, and added financial help to small businesses, especially those owned by people of color, are long overdue. Widespread inequality will otherwise continue to put the brakes on economic growth. Protect the economy. We need to rebound. 3 things. We need to save lives. No people, no economy. We need to protect financial risk. This is critical to stave off permanent damage and prevent a recession from escalating into a full-blown depression. Third one, we need to prepare for recovery. This means securing the future of companies, particularly of the small and medium enterprises that play such an important role in the economy, so they are ready to meet the demand that will someday return. My references, they will be on a separate Word document because there is quite a few. But that is the conclusion of my presentation, a bit about economics. I hope I didn't rant too much. I tried to keep it short and sweet. But thank you so much for all your time, all your help, and have an amazing day.